fully alive. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic. Good morning, good morning, CEOs, co creators of extraordinary outcomes. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic. My name is Coach B. I'm an ordinary person who has extraordinary aspirations, who believes in living life fully alive. I have a great topic for you today. Today's topic, let me bring that up. Change is not hard, it is different. Yes, change is not hard, it's different. Let me do some housekeeping stuff first. Let me do some housekeeping stuff first, and then we'll get into the topic, right? So I hope everyone had a great week and weekend. I know some people are acknowledging that we are in Lent season. We had Ash Wednesday just passed by. And for those of you who observe some type of spiritual or religious practice, I just want to say I acknowledge you. For those of you who might be catching this on Facebook, the link is in the description in order to leave a comment when we go live where I can see you, we can interact, I can engage you. You have to give StreamYard permission to access your Facebook account. That way, if you leave a comment, I can see it. I can acknowledge your presence. We can have that interaction happening in real time if that is your choice. And who's in the audience, thank you for watching. And then if you want to know how to reach me on YouTube, because we're live on YouTube as well, my YouTube channel is Coach B dash the CEO. If you put in Coach B dash the CEO on YouTube, you'll be able to catch me live there as well. And again, if you leave a comment, I should be able to see you if you have access to leave a comment there. And then as usual, we need the algorithms, subscribe, like, share, or leave a comment because what that does is push the video up further um, and the video change, so to speak. It's almost like ratings, channels, TV channels, they get enough ratings. When you get enough ratings, enough likes, enough shares, what it does, it brings up, right? It brings your post, your video up further so people can have more access to it. So if you're getting something from this or if you shared it previously, a previous video, I want to say thank you. If you are a subscriber already, I want to say thank you. And if you know someone that could subscribe, please feel free to share. This is valuable information, a little bit about myself. I'm a life coach. And what I want to do is help people change their lives. All right, people have different desires, goals, dreams that they want to put into action, and I'm here to support you in that way. So let me get back to the topic. Change is not hard; it's different. Change is not hard; it's different. When we think about change, change is an alteration towards something, a modification. It can be a replacement or something that becomes different. An alteration, a modification, a replacement, or something that becomes different. So many times in our lives, there are changes happening around us. There are changes that are happening inside of us biologically. We have voluntary changes, changes that we are proactive in, and then we have some changes that happen without our permission, both internal and external. So let me give you an example of change happening without our permission. We're not in control of the weather. Yesterday, really, really cold the first part of the day, and then it warmed up. I'm not responsible for the weather. I can't control the weather. I can't control how the weather fluctuates. However, I can change what I have on. I can put on a coat. I could take a layer off so that I can adapt, right? I can modify what I'm wearing. I can adapt to the weather. So some change, again, external. Some things are internal that we don't have no control over. For instance, we are going to age. I cannot stop the gray from happening. I can hide it, but it's going to happen, right? So let's think about change in a practical level and a theoretical level, but I'll get into that in a second. But so I want to talk about some change idioms that we may have heard, where they say that change is the only thing that's constant. As long as we're alive, change is going to happen with or without our permission. That's a fact. The weather is going to change, the season is going to change, we're going to get older, never younger, but we're going to get older. There is going to be a change with or without our permission, right? And then change with the time. Change with the time means, we become flexible. Some things happen and then we have to change with it. A great example would be working through the pandemic. Many people had to make a change. How they did they work, where they did they work. So we have to change with the time. And then we've heard the old idiom, a zebra can't change its stripes, meaning that there's some things that there's an inability, right? For some people state that, you know, who we are naturally, that's not going to change, irrespective of what's happening in the environment, what's happening internally. Like some people feel like who they are is who they are, and that's not going to change. So people already have a concept about what change is. There are different studies out there that talks about the change process. So sometimes we have theoretical underpinnings, some speculations about, how do people change? Why do people change? There are many theories out there. The most popular one that people might acquaint themselves with is the trans theoretical model, stages of change, right? Where it talks about pre contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance. And then for some people, there's a recurrence, right? Of something that they was trying to change and they go a little bit backwards. And then there's the logic model of change that if you do X, Y, and Z in a certain order, right, that the change will inevitably happen. So theory is one thing, but being practical, being in action and application is a different thing. So some people will say to you, I'm not with theory. I don't do the theory thing. I'm about action. I know change happens because I put myself in action. I lived it. I know it. I have experiential knowledge because this is something I know that has happened. I don't need a textbook. I don't need no teacher, no lecturer to tell me about change because I actually live in change. And change has been a major part of my life. When we think about change, what are we changing in? Are we changing in our perception? Meaning, do we think something is hard? Do we think something is easy? Do we think it's different? And then there's the emotional change, the investment. And then the mental investment, the energy, the time and energy that it takes for change to happen. So, a lot of times around this time of the year, we're in the last week of February, somewhere in November of last year or December of last year, people started taking an inventory of the year of 2022. And some people were satisfied, some people were dissatisfied. And they said, 2023 is going to be my year. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to make some modifications. I'm going to alter some things. I'm going to go to the gym. That's a big one. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to do this, that, and the other, right? And people set out. Now, their intentions are in a great place. And trust me, been there, done that, right? Intentions are in a great place. Want to change something for the better. Want to change something for the better. So what happens is people are motivated emotionally. They're motivated. They want to make a change. They're sick and tired of something. They want to make a change. And what happens, that goal, the aspiration, the motivation around February of 2023, it starts to wane, right? The motivation is not as high, the intensity is not as high. And research shows that out. That people will make a New Year's resolution, November, December, coming into January, they will be gun ho and they are sincere. They mean well. They want to make the change. And somewhere between February and March, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, the old patterns start to come back up. There's this slacking off, going back to what they used to do. And there's a couple of reasons for that. So when we think about different change models, sometimes what's not included is what happens when the motivation wanes off. This is why we need the resiliency and the consistency, because motivation will get you in the door, but it won't keep you in the door. It'll get you to the gym for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, but it won't keep you in the gym because we're fickle. We change our minds. Something to come up. I don't feel like doing it today. I'm not going. Or we'll do something and we'll go, oh, this is not working out the way that I thought it was going to work out. Because mentally, we may not be seeing the results that we hope to have accomplished. I'll give you an example. Go to the gym, and I think I have a viewer out there. Thank you, one love, one like. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I go to the gym, and I think that I'm gonna go to the gym 4 or 5 weeks and I'm gonna get these awesome results. And then I don't see it. I don't see the results. What I'm not keeping in mind is I haven't been to the gym for 10, 15, 20 years. So now I have this what? Unrealistic expectation that this thing is going to happen within 4 or 5 weeks. And what happens is I underestimate the time and the energy that it's going to take for the change to actually manifest itself. Motivation will get you in the door, but it won't keep you in the door, because now this is where systems and strategies, accountability and support has to come into play. There's been times I've said, I'm going to go to the gym, have a great workout. There's been times I woke up in the morning, I'm not going to the gym, and I gotta okay, what's the goal? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? I gotta talk myself into it to get there. And when I get there, I have the best workout in the world. However, had I listened to my first thought, I'm not going, I'm tired, I don't feel good, it's too much, the excuses and the reasons that start to come up, then I don't make it to the gym. So what I need to take into consideration is, how is this change connected to my values? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What's the big picture here? And take into consideration that when I change one thing, something else will change with it. That change begets change. What do I mean by that? If I'm going to the gym in the morning and I'm prepping before I go to the gym, got to get my gym bag, take a shower, X, Y, and Z, that means that the thing that I used to do before that is no longer on the table. And sometimes when we're up to making changes, we're not considering the byproduct of the change. We're thinking about, oh, my body is going to be ripped, I'm going to look good, this and that and the other. Yeah, that may be true if you stay with it long enough. But then there's other things. My diet, my rest. If I'm used to or accustomed to doing certain things at that particular time of day, I can't be in two places at the same time. So that's going to change too. Who am I inviting into the change process? Who am I telling this is what I want to do? This is where I need support. So what will happen again? People will make these New Year's resolutions, November, December, beginning January. By end of February, beginning of March, what will happen is the momentum will change. And people will do what? They will go back to, retard back to what they used to do. And they can't figure it out. Why so many starts and fits and starts? Why do I keep starting something and not finishing it? Why do I keep starting something and not finish it? Because we don't put into consideration the time, the energy, and what the change is offsetting in our lives. Oh, I see we have Albert Aponte is in here on Facebook. Thank you, Albert. Right? Um, and I just saw that pop up. Thank you, Albert. Thank you for all your support. So what happens is we don't take those other factors into consideration when the change is happening. How much time and energy do I need? What's going to be the mental energy? What's going to be the emotional energy? And if you haven't done something in a long time, at first it's going to feel good, then it's going to feel draining. And because the body and the mind has to adapt to the change. And because we're making change and we're using more energy, be it mental, emotional, or physical, we have to feed our body. The nutrients have to be different because we are doing what? Utilizing energy. So some people will go to the gym and they be like, oh, I'm so tired. Are you eating right? Some people will go to school because they're studying and they're using so much brain energy. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough rest? Are you eating right? Some people take on a new job, a second job, not getting enough rest, not eating properly, not putting in other, and let me say this, other healthy habits to sustain and support those changes. So changes don't happen in a bubble. What it is that we need to understand what change encompasses. What change encompasses. Because change, Albert is making a comment, right? A change encompasses a lot of things, right? There's the mental part of change, there's the physical part of change. What did he say? Change is, oh, hold on. Change room for progress, right? That is so true, Albert, right? Like you have to change, you have to make room. You have to make room in your mind and your spirit. You have to make room for the change. You have to create space for the change. The change is not going to happen automatic. Research also shows that if you want to change a habit, It can take up to, depending on what it is, up to 66 days. Some things you want to change can take as little as 21 days and up to 66 days, depending on what it is, because you have to create a new habit. So, my coaching questions would be, what's the emotional and or mental connection here for you for the change? How are you connecting to the change emotionally or mentally? Do you perceive it as easy? Do you perceive it as hard? Which way are you perceiving it, or different? How could you play all out? Meaning, what could you do differently to fortify the change? I'm just going to use the gym as an example. If it's to go to the gym, how can you play all out? Does it mean I go to bed an hour early so I can get up an hour early? Does it mean I pack my stuff up the night before? Does it mean that I do meal preparation? Does it mean, I get an accountability buddy, somebody I call and I check in with? How can you play all out? What do you need to do, right, to make sure that you stay in the process long enough, right, to create the change? How are you being? I mentioned it earlier. I said, you know what? Sometimes I wake up and I don't want to go. How am I being? I'm not being creative. I'm not being hopeful. How are you being? When I'm looking to change something or want to change something, it's important that my state of mind is positive, that I'm showing up like a leader in my life, that I'm showing up, that I'm being a creator in my life. So if there's something that I want to change, I understand how it's connected to my values. I'm looking at the big picture. I understand that change is going to take time, that it's not going to happen overnight, that I need to be consistent with it. I need to create a new habit. Habits aren't formed overnight, that it's going to take time, that it's going to take emotional and mental energy. It's an investment for something greater later. And to have realistic expectations of what that means. I haven't been to the gym in 10 years. Go to the gym 4 weeks and I expect to have a six pack. Unrealistic. Unrealistic. Or I want to do something that I've never done before and I think I'm supposed to get it overnight. No, you have to invest time and then you get a return on your investment. You get a return on your investment. So these are the coaching questions. Again, what's the emotional and mental connection here for you? How does this change tie in? Is it positive? Is it negative? Do you feel apprehensive? Do you feel ambivalent? What's going on for you? And then, how could you play all out? How could you show up differently? Who are you being in this? Most of the successful changes that I've had in my lifetime, and I'm going to keep it real with you, is when I was in a positive state of mind. I had so many positive results. And change for the negative. When I was negatively thinking and acting and being, I had the worst results. The worst result. When I didn't put my heart in it, I didn't put my heart and mind in it. I didn't follow up. I didn't wait for the change to manifest itself. Horrible results. But when I showed up differently and said, you know what, I'm gonna stick to this. I'm going to see what happens. I had much better results. My last question for you is how can I be of service? If you would like to reach out and connect with me, there is the email there. There is the email there, coach at coachb.me. There's more contact information in the description, both on Facebook and YouTube. And as a reminder, save the date. There is a free Let's Get It Done seminar. And the theme of the seminar is a season for change. A season for change. Again, that's March 11th at 10 o'clock. That's on a Saturday from 10 to 12. A free coaching seminar. The theme, a season for change. That information is also in the description. There is a link in the description where you can register. I want to say thank you. Change is not hard, but it is different. This has been your Monday Morning Magic. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you next Monday.